in Foxborough as Patriots Nation, like the rest of us, waits the future of Tom Brady. Mike, let's start with this. What is the atmosphere around this team right now?
Well, Wendy, I can sum it up in 3 words: air of uncertainty. Here we are, 6 days away from when Tom Brady's agents can speak to other teams about contracts, and the Patriots and Brady are no closer to an agreement. So it's created this air of uncertainty throughout the building. And you know, you think about it from Robert Kraft's perspective, the owner. He's giving Bill Belichick the keys to drive this situation, but he's also on the record, Kraft is, as saying that he hopes and prays that Brady either plays for the Patriots or he retires. And there's 2 key questions, Wendy, that remain. How far will Bill Belichick go financially, annually, and emotionally to try to keep Tom Brady here? And the second question, how much does Tom Brady still want to be with the Patriots? They're still working through the answers to those questions.
You're right, Mike. It seems the only thing we know for sure is that he will play. He's opting not to retire. At least that's what the understanding is right now. What are Patriots players saying about their quarterback? And I know they still think of him as their quarterback and his situation.
Well, Wendy, I think this story would sum it up. I was speaking with receiver Philip Dorsett the other day, and I said, have you been following Tom Brady's free agent status? And his answer to me was, well, how can you not? Every time I turn on the TV, that's all anyone is talking about. And Dorsett said, look, it's going to be hard to envision Tom in any other uniform, but at the same time, he's going to look out for his best interests. And then you talk to other free agents in Philip Dorsett's situation, like Kyle Van Noy and Ted Karras, and they say, we sort of feel like maybe we're on hold a little bit because we know the Patriots are dealing with Tom Brady first and foremost.
That makes a lot of sense, Mike. Thank you. And whether Tom Brady is plan A for Bill Belichick or not, there is always a plan B. What could that look like?
Well, I don't think that they're dealing with Tom Brady first. I think what they're dealing with first right now is the CBA first, and to try to get clarity there to know the rules that they're operating under so they then can go sit down and talk with Tom Brady and figure out a contract if both sides are interested or not, and sit down and talk to Philip Dorsett and the rest of the free agents and figure out what they're doing. So that's the first thing that they have to get done, is know the rules that they're playing under. Beyond that, their plan, if they lose Tom Brady, I don't know that they have one right now, to be perfectly frank, because I still think people are having a hard time processing the idea that Tom could potentially leave New England. It's not a certainty he will. It's certainly possible at this point in time. Maybe he stays. If he does leave, my sense would be that the Patriots then would convene and figure out what they want to do. And I think we've seen New England, if we judge by history in their past, they don't proactively react to these things and are forced into decisions that are rushed and desperate. They don't do that. So if Tom Brady were down, they'd see which free agent quarterbacks are out there at that point in time, and then they take their time. And there'd be one sitting there at the end, being that this is the first year that there's ever been a greater supply of quarterbacks than a demand for quarterbacks. Somebody's going to be left without a chair. And somebody may draw New England's interest. And they've got Jarrett Stidham on the roster, a rookie they liked from last year. I bet they drafted another one this year. I bet they signed a free agent that didn't get the deal he's looking for. And there's your 3 guys, none of which cost a lot of money. And then they could take a look at it and figure out what they want to do from there.
They certainly have a plan B. We just don't know what it is. Bill Belichick is not going to go into a season free agency, the draft, without having a plan B. Much like Adam's saying, it's a bunch. It's, do we trade for an Andy Dalton? Do we take a look at Teddy Bridgewater if he's still on the board once Tom makes a decision? Do we look at Jameis Winston? There's so many different things and variables there. I think what has to happen, though, is they first have to have a real conversation, whether it's in Foxborough or whether it's at Tom's home. Sit down, figure out where they want to go, what type of players they want to surround him with to get him comfortable in the situation again. But in the end, I still believe that he's going back to New England because New England is not asking him to leave, much like Indianapolis did with Peyton Manning or some of these other quarterbacks, Brett Favre.
That was a different situation.
Different situations as a whole.
With Peyton in Indianapolis. But, Rick, let me ask you this. If you're a GM, in terms of the Patriots, I mean, there's a lot of intangibles. This is certainly the greatest player in that franchise's history, likely of all time. I mean, you have to manage all kind of things if you consider his departure imminent. How do you do that?
Well, I think you do it very much like they're talking about. I do believe that there's a plan. We don't know what that plan is. I do think that even as a part of this process, before it's all decided, I think that there will be those conversations where Bill and Tom will sit down and they will talk about, even I think it goes even as far as past next week when Tom has his opportunity to talk to other teams, to see what his market value looks like, to see what those other opportunities look like. I think when those crystallize, and all of a sudden this is a real life opportunity. And so now Tom really has to sit with this decision of, do I leave a place that I've been in and the comfortable place that I am for 20 years to go for this unknown? And then New England gets to say, okay, well, here's what we can do in order to keep you. I think those conversations are going to happen as well.
A lot going on. We talk about it. Next week is going to be a zoo.
How many phones you got, Adam?
I know. He's going to need about 10 more.
Something different.
Yeah, okay.
Couple batteries.
Charge up. Up next, what is the latest on the Cowboys' new offer to their quarterback, Dak Prescott? Ed Warder checks in. He'll also have the latest on Amari Cooper's future in Big D. And impending free agent wide receiver Robbie Anderson is with us. You don't want to miss what he has